All right, folks, I don't know what happened. We were live for a minute there, and feed got cut for some reason, but we're back. So I'll give it just a minute just to make sure we have transmission here and we got everybody on board. But I wanted to talk this morning. We got a good signal here, folks. Yeah. All right. Well, obviously, a lot of you aren't getting my notifications. I've gotten repeated emails about how you're just not being notified, but that's okay. You can pick this up on the replay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joe Briano, the Fullerton Informer, coming to you on a Thursday morning, the 25th of October, 2018. And if you just joined us, we're talking about the return of the iron lung, folks. That dreaded vision of children laying on their back in a metallic sarcophagus that has to perform their breathing functions for them, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's right, folks. What they've got going on is they're bringing back polio. I keep talking about this because as everybody's watching the media circus, and, you know, there is a big circus going on right now, folks. And I don't mind telling you, you know, now I'm sure they're going to probably ban lead powder or something because of the pipe bombs that are coming out. They don't want you to block the 5G coming through your walls. So they've got some nut job getting us in a position to where we won't be able to access certain things on the internet. But the backdrop to all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is contagion. Contagion in a tyrannical medical system that knows best, even though right now it doesn't know a damn thing. Because another case of acute flaccid myelitis has been diagnosed. I think it's in Georgia. I think we're up to 65 cases this year already in like 30-something states, which is... And some reports are telling us that there's about 130 cases. But you can never trust anything that comes out of the Centers for Disease Creation. I mean, the control of disease creation. I mean, the Centers for Disease Control. That's right, that alphabet agency run by the eugenicists that spends most of its budget figuring out ways to create bioweapons that they'll occasionally release on the unsuspecting masses. And in the Hegelian dialectic form of problem, reaction, solution, they'll come wrapping themselves in the American flag, posing as our saviors, with a syringe in one hand and a scalpel to our jugular on the other. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard me. The entire premise of viruses causing illness is the subject of much debate, especially amongst people who can think and who have studied the material and the research. But if you take an average 18-and-a-half-year-old that has spent the last 4 years of his or her life in a high school jacked up on Adderall and Starbucks memorizing a bunch of Common Core bullshit, if they were taught that the Easter Bunny could raise a mobile gas station from the dead and give it the wings of Pegasus, they would believe it, ladies and gentlemen, because what they do in the high schools is they program these kids to believe everything they're told, even though it makes absolutely no sense. But that's a lot of your own fault, ladies and gentlemen, for putting so much of an emphasis on the lies and the uselessness of an education. I'm not saying you shouldn't get an education, folks. You know, if you want to learn a trade that's going to teach you how to make money and to work with your hands or your mind, be my guest. But if you want to have your children go into the system and be part of this system that lies and deceives and drugs and dopes and dumbs down and destroys our culture, then the blood is on your hands, ladies and gentlemen. And there's no difference now with what is going on with this polio epidemic that they're calling AFM than what was going on in the 50s, in the 40s after World War II. Because all these young students with their pencils and protractors were getting shipped off to these mind control facilities, working for IG Farben and DuPont and Monsanto and Monsatan, or whatever you want to call it, to invent all kinds of evil, wicked chemicals to unleash on the unsuspecting droves of humanity, as the Red Cross was shoving cigarettes in our young men and women's faces, and as the satanic, vile, pedophilic Hollywood scum put tobacco in all the movies and commercials. And the propaganda reels turned in the theaters to get everybody to believe the lies after the war, ladies and gentlemen. They got everybody thinking that there was some boogeyman called polio that was going to kill every kid in the country and paralyze everybody with 2 legs. When in reality, and I'm not downplaying the tragic nature of what happened to these children back then, but all told, there were 1,200 cases that needed an iron lung over a 10-year period, the late 40s and early 50s. And that was enough precipice to get every man, woman, and child to inject their offspring with monkey virus containing blood goo that was centrifuged and distilled and injected, implanting the SV40, the simian 40 virus, the monkey virus that causes cancer, that causes adenocarcinoma. You ever wonder why so many people are getting cancer? You ever wonder why people are getting lung cancer that never smoked and colon cancer that never ate hot dogs? You ever wonder about this, folks? Well, the vaccination programs, these immunization programs that were launched as a result of this staged outbreak, it was really a result of what was being done to the animal feed back then. Ribesterol, it was an estradiol compound that was being put in all the chicken and cattle feed and pork feed back then, which is a super potent estrogen compound. And that combined with all the DDT and the organochloride pesticide application was collapsing the immune systems of these children. So of course they were going to get paralyzed when they were exposed to the common cold. Because I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. If you smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day and live on frappuccinos and chocolate-covered espresso beans and don't sleep and put Kahlua in your milk and have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for breakfast and have McDonald's hamburgers for lunch, and maybe for dinner, if you're lucky, it'll be a shot of Cuervo and some Heineken. I want to tell you something, folks. The common cold could kill you. That's right. Because if your body's full of crap and sleep deprived and unhealthy and malnourished, the Santa Ana winds could kill you, folks. And yet, that's what we've failed to realize, and I will tell you something. I'm going to make a statement right now that is going to probably have some real serious ramifications with this agenda. And I want to make sure that you clearly understand what I'm telling you. Because I'm about to give you the key to solving this problem. You see, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Creation, the control disease creators, the Centers for Disease Control, the cockamamie disease con men in Atlanta, will not release information about this children that are being afflicted by this ailment that so far has avoided detection in terms of a cause. But the common denominator is they're all under 18. Well, boy, thanks a lot, guys. You know, it's like you're trying to solve a riddle and they give you a clue that says, oh, the first clue is it's white. Okay? That's a keyword for Google, by the way. They're telling us that the afflicted are all under 18. Some are under 4. The symptoms begin with a cold or runny nose, a fever, And then it progresses to things like droopy eyes, and they're starting to feel some numbness in their extremities. That's right. They're all children. But they don't go into specific details like ethnicity, ladies and gentlemen. Because you see, the ethnicity of the children afflicted by an outbreak can yield a lot of insight into what the cause is. In this particular case, what we know is that the cases have been, from what I've been able to ascertain, located in heavily Caucasian areas, and it appears from all of the information that's been released, it involves Caucasian children. Now, I will tell you that Caucasian children have the worst diet on the face of the earth, and that is because their parents have been programmed and brainwashed by the vile, pedophilic, satanic Illuminati scum that run Hollywood, that have been programming these parents to feed their kids garbage for generations. But that is part of the issue here. I want to show you something that I have in a cup. And I want to tell you what's in here, and I want to tell you how you can avoid acute flaccid myelitis in your children, ladies and gentlemen. And it's very simple. They tell you to wash your hands, and yet they don't tell you what is causing this because they don't know. They tell you to stay up to date on your polio shots, and yet they tell us that they don't know what is causing this. So how could staying up to date on a vaccine help you if it's not being caused by a so-called virus that the vaccine prevents, according to their own admissions? They're telling us that it's a combination of genetic factors, environmental factors, and probably, quote, probably related to a virus, a common virus. What I can tell you is it's an inflammation of the gray matter of the spinal cord, in which the body's immune system begins to attack its own nervous system. That's an autoimmune disease, ladies and gentlemen, and that is induced by high levels of phytoestrogen compounds, similar to the estrogen compounds that we were being dosed with in the 40s and 50s with the Rebestrol. It was in the feeds. The animal feeds were being soaked in this stuff. The animals were being fed these estrogens to fatten them up, to make them eat less. It's called DES, folks. That's the stuff that they were putting in the feeds back then. Now it's called soy formula. Now it's called soy protein isolate. Now it's called soy lecithin. Now it's called soy milk. Now it's called soy dream. It's called soy ice cream. And instead of DDT, it's Roundup, glyphosate. So we got the same thing going, folks. Now we've got, instead of organochloride, now we've got organophosphates. And instead of DES that was in the animal feeds, now we've got the phytoestrogens in the infant formulas, ladies and gentlemen. And mommy's ice cream because she doesn't want to eat the regular stuff. So we have a situation where autoimmune diseases are being induced by high levels of estrogen exposure in the womb. And of course, autoimmune disease can be easily induced by introducing zoonotic genetic materials in the vaccines. And of course that's a component, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to tell you one of the ways to reduce the inflammation anywhere in your body for about $3. Turmeric. Turmeric, folks! Turmeric! You show me one of these children that have AFM, that are jacked up on curry. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory, ladies and gentlemen, and you will not find AFM in the United States in a child that eats high levels of turmeric in their diet. If you want to protect your children, you want to protect yourself, and you want to solve your problems with inflammation, and this AFM, this polio, this fake polio thing that they're rolling out to get everybody scared to take another polio shot, you know what you do? you take turmeric, folks. Go buy the powder. I don't care where I'm not selling powder. I'm telling you, this is a natural compound that is dirt cheap, that everyone can get their hands on, and you can put it in water and drink it, and it won't hurt you. Now, I'm not saying to go out and eat a whole pound of this stuff. I'm saying put a teaspoon of it in a glass of water and drink it, for crying out loud. That's right. That's right, folks. Put your turmeric in your smoothies. Put your turmeric in your glass of water in the morning. Put it in something. Get it in your body. Get it in your children's bodies. And feed them Indian food. You want to know why Bill Gates has been having such a hard-on to get the vaccines into all the people in India, to get the polio going over there? Because he knows how well turmeric stops it. You see, folks, the white kids, and I'm not being prejudiced here, folks, I'm being factual. Most white people's children, and I'm white, I have blue eyes. I was raised by a mom and a dad who fed me Bisquick and Aunt Jemima and Farmer John when I was growing up. There was Count Chocula on the shelf, and Jersey Made in the refrigerator, and Bill Cosby's Jell-O in a cup with the Cool Whip. I was fed all that stuff as a child because the damn television told my parents to buy that shit. And my parents didn't know any better. They thought they were doing us a favor by giving us things that we liked. That's right. But the downside to all this is it's a generational thing, because today the parents of my generation have inculcated in my generation, as they've become parents, to feed their kids not only the Jell-O and the Count Chocula and the Cool Whip and the Jersey Made. Now they've taken it a step further, where it's the soy ice cream and the chicken dinos and the Keebler and the chocolate donuts and the fruit pies and the Uncrustables and the Lunchables and the every single thing that comes in a plastic wrapper, out of a box, out of a freezer, out of some bizarre carton that's got some freaky cartoon on it. That's what everybody feeds their kids. And you're not going to get any anti-inflammatory compounds in that processed shit. Okay? Because that's what it is. It's a bunch of garbage. Soy, and yeah, you know what? I want to tell you something, folks. All the corporate fearmongers are being, and you know who they are out there. All the corporate fearmongers are getting the red carpet rolled out while they shut my notifications off. So spread this far and wide, because I'm telling you the truth. Okay? So the diet joke and all the tofu and look, if you don't want your kids to suffer from chronic inflammatory conditions, including ones that can paralyze them, feed them turmeric, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, I'm not selling you penis enlargement drops like Alex Jones. I'm not telling you that 10 billion people are going to die tomorrow like NASA Tavares. I'm not going to tell you, that the whole power grid's going to come down next month when they're supposed to collapse the economy, because that's not going to happen. They're not going to take everything down at once, folks. It's a slow kill. It's a soft kill. It's a well-orchestrated, very clandestine cloak and dagger fashion of successive approximation and acclimation to the agendas, to where they softly lull you into their lullaby state, to where you accept the edicts and you do it to yourselves. You're the one going to the store and reaching inside that freezer section and putting your index finger on the door and opening the handle, and then placing your right hand on the Uncrustables box, folks, and placing it into the cart. Not me. That is all you. You are the ones. I tell you what, go to the spice aisle instead and start eating fennel seeds, women, if you don't want to have bone density issues when your menopausal syndromes kick in, because you've been on birth control for 25 years because you were too lazy to deal with an irregular period, or you didn't want to try to at least attempt to deal with the natural cycle of your body's ovulation intervals, now you're dealing with whacked out menopause because you've been a hormonal imbalance for the larger part of your life, and now your bone density's become an issue. Guess what? Fennel seeds help bone density. And you know what else helps your bone density, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you. One of the most incredible inventions ever known to mankind. You can go to the Dollar Tree and get one. It's called a hammer. What you do is you take this hammer and pick it up with your hand, and you go get your sunglasses and put your sunglasses on the ground, and you smash the living shit out of your sunglasses, ladies, so you can finally get the life-giving light from the sun through your eyeballs. And your body will begin making its own vitamin D. And all you need to reverse bone loss is a hammer, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And you take this hammer to your sunglasses. And if you want me to do a video on how to do that, I'd be happy to produce one. But I'm driving right now, so I can't start smashing things. And by the way, I think all of you should smash your sunglasses, folks. Look, polio's coming back because it never left. Polio was a disease and is a disease of environmental poisoning, hormone manipulation, and genetic material insertion by psychotic eugenicists that have begun to continue to hijack our bloodstreams and our children's bloodstreams by gaining access through syringes, and now they're rolling out the mosquitoes. That's right. Pretty soon, the mosquitoes will be doing the injections, folks. It's already happening. The mosquitoes. Oh, and by the way, hammers are useful for a lot of things, folks, because things that destroy your health need to be smashed to hell with a hammer. You know, when I was a little kid, there were a lot of empty lots around my house. Hey, do we got any moderators on this morning? David or Alan, are you out there? When I was a kid, there were a lot of empty lots around my house. Back then, land was cheap and money was tight. And these lots would sit empty in Garden Grove, and we'd ride our bikes up to the field. And one of our favorite things to do, one of my favorite things to do, and some of the rest of us, was we'd go break bottles. You guys remember that? We'd go to the field and break bottles. We thought it was fun. We'd go find bottles and smash them and watch them shatter. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some things in this world that need to be smashed and shattered, folks. I think the people that listen to this need to have a hammer party. Okay? And the first thing you need to smash is your television, and then we can move over to the sunglasses. Then you can move over to the Budweiser, and then you can move over to the synthetic vitamins in your cabinet, and then you can move over to the Xbox, and then you can move over to the PlayStation, and then you can move over to the iPad that's sterilizing your daughter, and then maybe you can move over to your spouse's head that's not listening to you. I'm just kidding. It's time for a hammer party, folks. It's time for a hammer party. We got to start breaking down the weapons that they've aimed at us. It's hammer time, folks. Now, back to this polio scam. And yes, I'm for real. Oleg Smedvik, or whatever your name is. William Finley, he used to live in Garden Grove. That's awesome. You know what? I still love Garden Grove. I still have a deep, fond affection for that city, because I want to tell you something, folks. Some of the realest people I ever met in my life. Some of the realest people I ever met in my life. And a shout out to all the people I grew out with out there. I don't know if I want to throw your names out there, but you know what? I love all you guys, and I want to tell you something. There was a guy named Jeff who got married a few years ago, and his wedding was the best wedding I ever went to in my life, because we got to see everybody we grew up with. That was one of the best nights of my life. One of the best nights of my life, seeing all my old friends from Garden Grove that I grew up with. We all grew up together, and you know, someday we're going to have another reunion for the neighborhood in Garden Grove. Good times, good people. Simple times, simple people. I remember in my neighborhood in Garden Grove, I knew everybody's last name. I knew everybody's mom and dad. I could walk around for blocks and I knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody hung out. We played baseball in the streets and had block parties. Then we rode around on Schwinn cruisers trying to pick up on everybody's daughters. That's right. That's what it was like being a teenager growing up. It was wonderful. Now they got everybody wearing sunglasses and not talking to anybody, staring at screens. That's right. Headsets on, virtual reality headsets. Take those hammers to the virtual reality headsets and smash the living hell out of them, folks, because they're destroying your children. There's so much to do, folks, and so little time. But if you want your children not to get this paralytic disease, don't give them those damn vaccines, and give them some turmeric, and stop feeding them a bunch of Swiss Miss and Swiss piss and blueberry and break your teeth crunch berries, and stop going to the frozen food section where every box has a frickin' cartoon on it. You cannot feed your children all this garbage, okay? You can't do this. You know, we were running around on bicycles with no helmets, in second stage smog alerts, jacked up on Abba's and Coca-Cola until the street lights came on. 2 blocks away from the 22 freeway in Garden Grove. That's right. When the average cubic inch displacement of the American automobile on the road at the time was 400 cubic inches, with 4-barrel carburetors, no catalytic converters, and leaded gasoline! Lead paint on the toys! And mercurochrome in the medicine cabinet, and there wasn't one case of autism anywhere, folks. Leaded gas, lead paint, next to the freeway, smog alerts, asbestos brake dust all over the place. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Mercurochrome in the medicine cabinet, and no autism. You know what we didn't have back then? Didn't have 65 vaccines and wireless. That's right. We didn't have soy formula either, folks. We didn't have all these barbaric birthing procedures that destroyed the children when they were coming out of the womb with like a vaccine full of hooker shot hepatitis. Thanks to Bill Clinton's sterilant in that. That's right. There's stuff. There are. I don't mind saying this, folks, but there are myelin antigens in the hepatitis vaccine. There's a lot of stuff in the hepatitis vaccine that are being given to these kids. You have a child in the hospital, you need to really, really, really put a birth plan together. And that's right, it was free-range childhood, folks. That's what it was. Free range. We'd ride our bikes anywhere we wanted to go because the grown-ups weren't jacked up on Viagra wanting to rape the kids. They wanted to cook us lunch and tell us stories about the old days. That's how the grown-ups used to be. Now they're a bunch of perverts because they're all jacked up on Viagra, and the inflation has made a lot of them a lot of money, and so they're not satisfied with their wives, so now they go after the kids. It's hammer time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for a hammer party. The hammers aren't just for the sunglasses, folks. Oh, fiddlesticks, right? No, wrong. Stop ruining your kids and stop letting other people ruin your kids. And if you're going to have children, train them up to be soldiers and not the ones that fight the proxy wars. You got to train them up to be soldiers for the truth, folks. Ones that will stand up for what is true and what is real. You don't like my yelling? You like it when I talk like this? Can I ask you a question? Why do you feed your children sugar for breakfast every day? Why? Why do you keep feeding your children sugar every day and expect them to be healthy? How can you feed your child something that does not belong in their body? Why do we continue doing this to the kids? Why? What's wrong with you people, huh? Come on, man, come on. You tell me why this is happening, and I will tell you what the solution is. The solution is you gotta stop laying down like a doormat for these people. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Get with the program. You guys, you want to act like you're a bunch of animals. You know, they train you to be animals. They're going to treat you like animals. Now, come on. They want you all jacked up on drugs and wearing these gold chains and locked up in a cage, man. Come on. That's wrong. That's wrong. We're human beings, man. You can't let the man treat us like this. And you can't treat your children. You can't treat your children like pediatric pincushions, ladies and gentlemen. And you can't feed your children complete garbage and put virtual reality headsets on them and expose them to chronic levels of deadly microwave radiation in your home because you want to get your Netflix and porn in the bathroom when your wife's not looking. I'm one of you folks. I'm for all of you guys. You know, I was at a school board meeting last night in Anaheim, California, and let me tell you something, folks. There's some really evil stuff going on in the Anaheim School District. Okay? I'm an equal opportunity defender, ladies and gentlemen. The Anaheim School District is about 95% Hispanic. And those kids are under attack by some very nefarious agendas. And that's right, Disney is right around the corner, and Disney's got a heavy hand in what is going on underneath the Anaheim School District. And you read between the lines. Come on, man! Come on, get with it, brother! You need to get with it, brothers and sisters, because while in this, they got us hating each other. They got us hating on each other all the time. They got all this divisive, racist, balkanizing stuff. They want you to hate your brother. Well, they got the gun to all our heads, man. Come on. You got to pull it out. They got us all going down, man. That's right. But that's wrong. That's wrong, and you can't let them do this. They want to lock up all the men in the jails. They bring in the drugs. They bring in the guns. They corrupt all the kids. They drug all the kids. They teach all the kids how to do all the wrong stuff. They teach these kids how to treat these women like animals. You cannot do that, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot let these people get away with this. It's wrong. It's wrong. And your mom and your daddy, they don't like what they're doing to you, and you gotta wake up. You know, the problem is that nobody wants to listen. You know, I try to explain this to people, and they think I'm crazy because they don't want to look at the facts. The facts are this. You know, we got all these problems, and nobody wants to take a responsibility for their problems. It's too many problems, but we got a lot of solutions. But you know, the people, they don't want to pay attention. I gotta explain this to you again. You know, every time I try to explain this, it's difficult because I can't think about why nobody wants to listen. Nobody want to listen. Everybody want to keep watching the TV set. You know, the Dodgers last night, I think the Dodgers lost the game. Okay, so it's okay they lose a game. What's the big deal? Excuse me, but how come this ball game is important? It's not important. What's important is what is happening to everybody. And everybody is having muchos problems right now because nobody's paying attention. I don't know if there is a solution if people want to stay sleeping all the time. I mean, you know why they got a liquor store on all the corners? It's because they want you drinking all the time. They want you sitting in front of the TV set. And that's why they put all these hot-looking women on the TV set. And you can hear them moaning and groaning in the surround sound bullshit. And so you never get off the couch. In the meantime, go in the room of your child and see what your child is looking at on the computer. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You know these video games these kids that play, and you know you're the one that bought the video game system for the Christmas, and then you think it's a good babysitter. You need to pay attention to what your children are doing. It's not good. It's not good what is happening, and you know it's all your fault because you do not want to look at the facts. You cannot have healthy children if they sit inside the house all day, never go outside and play in the sun, in the fresh air, and ride the bicycle and get the exercise. They get fat and you go to the store and you buy them more microwave Hot Pockets and they sit in the room and they look at the computer. You know that's not normal. It's not normal, ladies and gentlemen, and it's your fault because you want to be lazy and you want to do drugs and you want to sit there and have a good time for yourself. You want to go to Las Vegas and you leave your children home with the babysitter and you don't pay attention to them and they get all their influence from the TV. And you know who controls the TV, right? You know who control the TV. You know the peoples that control the TV. They're not nice. You look at what they're doing on the TV to these children. And you look at the role models. These role models, they look like the devils. They have all these tattoos and all these weird things in their eyeballs. And they wear these satanic necklace. And they have these pentagrams on their face, tattooed on their eyeballs. And, you know, these people, they have reptilian on the TV. And these children, they love it. These children are falling victim to the experts in the mind control. And this mind control comes from the Tavistock Institute. And they're experts. And the schools are adopting these programs from Mr. Kinsey, who was a pedophile. And they're incorporating all this Kinsey sexuality into the curriculum. And you stay home and watch the Dodgers. Because the Dodger game is more important than your children. I missed the Dodger game last night because I go to a school board meeting to try to explain to these people what they're doing to the children is wrong. And the Kinsey was a bad man. But they don't want to listen, folks. Because they're all in on it. You gotta love your kids. You gotta wake up. Do you guys like that? It's kind of fun going off, but you know something, folks? I love all you guys, and I love humanity. That's why I do this. I can't stand when evil people mess with kids. I cannot stand when people allow parents to ruin their kids. But you know what? All I can do is warn you. You know, there's a tremendous amount of peace I have in my life because of my relationship with the one who paid it all. And I'm not afraid when I walk by the enemy, when I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, ladies and gentlemen, and I do that on almost a daily basis, and we all do. When you get in your car, you take your life into your hands. When you stand up against really evil, wicked, sick powers in high places, it can be scary when you're walking your car late at night by yourself. But you know what? God's in control. God's going to protect me. He's going to protect you, and he's going to open your eyes to what I just told you about. And you're going to take control of your kids and their health, folks. And it's real simple. You see, an ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure, folks. And right now, with the iron lung threat that's coming back, and by the way, the iron lung, for those of you who don't know, and I'm going back and forth from my concoction of some nice cold water. By the way, turmeric, water, coral powder, Himalayan pink salt, cayenne pepper, fresh squeezed Meyer lemon, and fresh squeezed key lime, and fresh squeezed Eureka lemon. I had 2 types of lemons and 1 lime in there this morning because I've got these different citrus trees. I love citrus, by the way. And I had a little bit of pomegranate for breakfast, I have to admit. And I put a little bit of coral powder in there. And what else did I put in here? Turmeric, cayenne pepper, lemon, lime, apple cider vinegar, coral powder, and pink Himalayan sea salt. Oh, and cinnamon powder, that's right. And freshly squeezed ginger. Look, folks, everything I talk about is free, because you know what? The most important thing in the world is free, ladies and gentlemen. Salvation through Jesus Christ doesn't cost you a dime. You don't have to get on a bicycle and wear a name tag and ride around in a white shirt and give 30% of your income to a Masonic pedophilic organization. You don't have to get on your knees and say 50 Hail Marys in front of a guy in a druid robe on a stone altar. And you don't have to get in front of some guy in Hirachis in a Hawaiian shirt that's going to give you a purpose-driven book that's a fraud and give 10% of your money so he can put a marble ceiling on his house in Huntington Harbor. You just need to get right with Jesus Christ, folks. You need to get right with God, and I want to tell you something. You won't be afraid, and you'll open your eyes, and you'll walk in, and you'll really see what they're trying to do with that TV set. You know, when I walk into a house and I look at what the TV is, it freaks me out. And when I say that we need to have a hammer party, I'm not saying that you need to walk around and start smashing things. Now, I'll be honest with you. I think that's what should happen. And Rick Warren, yeah, it's an agenda-driven life, not a purpose-driven church. That guy's a fraud. All these pastors are frauds, folks. All these pastors, and if there's a good pastor out there, send me the link. I'll look at him. But you know what? All these guys running these nonprofits are crooks. They're crooks. They're not telling you anything that's going on, folks. They're letting your kids go to hell. You know, somebody sent me a link to some guy. I think he's in South Carolina. That guy was on fire. I forget his name. I watched a couple of his videos. I'm like, yeah, this guy knows what's going on. He's preaching hell, repentance, telling these kids are going. Because you know what? To be honest with you, folks, I'll be honest with you. Most of our kids are going to hell, and no one wants to talk about it, but they are. They're immersed in Satanism, and they don't even realize it. And they've abandoned Jesus Christ. They've abandoned righteousness. They've abandoned. I mean, they're a product of the schools and the games. That's right. That's right, folks. And it's your job as parents, and it's my job as a parent. And I'm fighting a battle with my own children. I'm not immune to the machinations of the devil. As a matter of fact, my family gets attacked even harder than most because of what I'm involved in. But that's not going to stop me, because I know that my Redeemer lives, and on the last day I'm going to see him face to face. And I know when my children were born, before I cut that umbilical cord, I did it in the name of Jesus Christ. The minute that umbilical cord was cut by me, I invoked the name of Jesus Christ over my children. You need to invoke the name of Jesus Christ over everything. That's right. Because guess what? Guess what, folks? He's all powerful. He's all knowing. And he's everywhere at once. And, you know, I'm not talking about the plimsolls, folks. I'm not talking about one of David Geffen's creations, the plim soul. Everywhere at once. What's that all about? Who's everywhere at once? The devil tries to be with 5G. Ain't gonna work. because we're going to have a hammer party, folks. That's right. We got to protect our children, folks. And this iron lung that's coming back is a scam. They got everybody freaked out because the kids are all jacked up on soy protein isolates and soy formula and Roundup in all the Cheerios and all the Keebler Elf cookies and all the garbage. Get your kids off the wheat, get your kids off the soy, and get your kids into curry. And I'm not talking about the curry that's got all the MSG and the hydrolyzed protein and the disodium guanylate and all the neurotoxins they're putting in these bad broth. Make it yourself, okay? Make it yourself, folks. I want to tell you something, folks. There's a scam coming. It's a big one. They're going to expand the polio epidemic, and they're going to scare the crap out of everybody into getting more vaccines. That's what's behind this. And what's going on here is an inflammation of the spinal cord, and the 5G is going to only enhance it, because right now they've laid the groundwork. They've got the founding members of the polio scam going right now in these hospitals, these poor children, and they're going to broaden this epidemic like nobody's business when the 5G gets turned on, because the 5G is going to turn it on, folks. It's going to turn it on. Hey, Begley's into masonry, folks, so just to get that fact out there. Listen. You got to hear me on this, folks. Right now is a ground floor opportunity for you to evade the coming attack on your children. You need to make sure you protect your family from the 5G systems that are coming. Do not give any more of these injections to your children. Find a way to get out of them, folks. There are ways. When there's a will, there's a way. In California, you can homeschool your child, or you can get a medical exemption. You don't need to get your children injected with more of this stuff. And let's face it, the vaccines have not been tested for mutagenic potential, carcinogenic potential, or impairment of fertility. So why in God's name would you put these into your children? Well, it's because you're too afraid to research it for yourself, because maybe your husband can't get off the hops while he grows his man boobs watching the ball game, and maybe you women can't escape the pressure from your PTA friends to go to the next ice cream social. I mean, come on, folks. Come on. I mean, really. Do it for your kids. You know, I see these kids with these headsets on, these virtual reality headsets on. They're emaciated. They're all pale. They've got no coordination. I remember riding my 10-speed down Brookhurst, coming down the hill from the 405 freeway with fishing poles strapped to the side and a backpack on my back at 5 o'clock in the morning in the dark with no hands. I remember going down that hill with no hands and no helmet, and I was as free as a bird, as happy as a clam. You know what? I had coordination. These kids don't have coordination, folks. They're neurologically impaired by the vaccines and the wireless. And thank the school district for that, folks. That's right. You can thank the school district for forcing these kids to get injected and irradiated. That's right. It's a shame. It's a shame, folks. It's where we are. But it doesn't mean it's where we're going. There are ways out of this. What you got to do is wake up. Get off of all the sports and all the booze and all the dope. I mean, if you want to hit the bong once in a while, that's your prerogative. If you want to throw back a few cold ones with your buddies, that's a prerogative. But you can't do that every single night. You can't do that every single night. But that's what you do. That's what you do, folks. And while you're doing that, what happens with your wife in the kitchen? It's Betty Crocker time, right? That's right. And then your children, they got that virtual reality going, rewiring their brain. And they go to bed with a bunch of Crest toothpaste in their mouth with hydrated silica, sodium saccharin, and stannous fluoride all soaking into their bloodstream while they're laying on their backs in bed as it calcifies their pineal gland alongside with the Wi-Fi router, folks. That's right. That's right. You want your kids to be healthy? Tell them the truth, folks. Tell them they're created by God, that the earth is a closed system, that it was created by God, these creatures were created by God, that man can never create life. All man can do is mess with it, monkey with it, and screw it up. That the hummingbirds defy the laws of physics, and some guy with a bunch of pencils sticking out of his pocket that's got a PhD in physics can't explain how a hummingbird makes a solid 90 degree in midair when it senses another bird of paradise flower in the distance. It's unbelievable, folks. The truth will set you free. It'll set your kids free. We have an epidemic of depression, and these children want to kill themselves. They have no purpose in life. They are not happy. It's because they've been lied to. They're all lied to, folks. And you need to tell them the truth. Tell them that God loves them. Jesus loved them, that Jesus died for their sins. And rescue them from the satanic technocracy's death grip it has on their mind. You know, every day I wake up and I thank God for another day, and every day is a different day. The sun looks different, the sky looks different, the light is different. Every day is different, folks. No 2 days are the same for a reason. And today is a gift, and tomorrow will be a gift. It's promised to no man. The Bible says tomorrow is promised to no one. And we need to live life today as if it could be our last. And what that means is we got to live for the truth. I understand you got to pay your bills. I got to go to work just like everybody else. But you want to know something? You have to tell the truth. And you can't hide information if you're aware of it. And you can't go along to get along, because you know who will pay the price? He will visit the sins of the parents on subsequent generations, folks. You're going to curse your grandchildren. Wake up, stay strong, and God bless all of you. And I don't care what the color of your skin is. All of our blood is red. All of us have a Father in heaven that put us here. And it is those who are of their father, the devil, that want us fighting with each other, folks. Just remember that. Just remember who wants us fighting with each other. It is not those that are of our Father in heaven. It is those who are of their father, the devil. And there are people that are children of the devil, folks. All right, that's it, folks. I'm going to cut this short, giving you enough time. I got to go take care of business, and I want all of you to have a blessed day. And remember, the one who paid it all, Jesus Christ. Let's live for him, folks. God bless.